Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are doing a Vinyasa flow class with the peak pose being compass. So put on some stretchy clothes and let's meet up on the mat. Find yourself in Sukhasana, easy pose. And we are going to start off with some shoulder, neck, joint stretching. So first thing we're going to do is drop our right ear to our right shoulder and feel the length through the side of our left side of the neck. You could take your left hand, drop it down to the mat, and kind of reach it out. Creep your fingertips as far as they can go. Try not to tense this shoulder. Keep it soft, keep it easy, and just simply let gravity do the work of dropping your ear to your shoulder and creep out your left hand. You could also play around with lifting your hand, almost like you're extending it away from your body, like you're trying to pull it off of yourself. You could also play with flexing your fingers, flexing your wrist, I guess. Yeah. Pulling your fingers back and getting a nice forearm stretch, wrist stretch, and you kind of feel it all the way through. And once you find a nice stretch here, start to drop your nose to look at your armpit. That's going to start to rotate it to the back of your traps there. Now, let's relax the left arm and continue the journey down, bringing your chin to your chest. And now interlace your fingers and just set them on your head. Don't hurt yourself in this, but do give yourself enough pressure. You're in control of how much pressure. I feel it throughout my upper back. It feels like an opening. It's really nice. You could play with putting it on your neck compared to your head. Play around with the hand placement. It'll get different areas. And once you're finished with that, release your hands and slowly lift your head back up. Now we're going to drop our left ear to our left shoulder and find that opening on the right side. Keeping your left shoulder relaxed. Let gravity do the work. And then take your right hand and slowly creep it out. Play with your hand if it's off in the air, on the mat. If it's a little forward, a little back, just find a little place that feels like it's giving you a nice release. And when you're ready to move on, start to point your nose down into your left armpit. And once again, bring your nose all the way down, coming into looking at the floor, basically, or at your lap. You could place your hands there again, if it feels nice for you, and slowly lift back up. Okay, now we're going to move into our shoulders. You can give yourself a couple of shoulder rolls one way and then the other. Now we're going to give ourselves a nice big hug. And maybe do a little twist to side, if that feels nice. Okay, release that. And let's interlace our fingers behind our back and stretch them. I'll move to the side so you can see it from the side. Stretch them out like so that you can find a nice stretch in your shoulders. Ooh, I feel like my butt crack is showing, so I'm going to try to do that. Yeah, you could also lean forward, try to get them up. if that's appropriate. It might be too early for some people, and that's okay too. And from here, I also am now going to do the eagle arms. Wrapping. I'll slow that down. So we're going to wrap our right hand. You could do right or left. We're not really going to do both sides. So I'm going to take the crook of my elbow and place it on this elbow. And from there, I'm going to bend my hand back and try to kind of creep up so that ideally my hands would be together like this. Clearly I'm not there. And then I'm going to try to straighten it out so my shoulders are square. You could lift your elbows up. That feels like a nice release in my upper back. Good. Bend forward. Just play with that. And actually, it does feel quite different on the shoulders, so let's go ahead and switch sides. Do your opposite side. So last time I had my right hand, my right hand under, or right arm under. So now I'm going to take my left arm under my right and crisscross them and crisscross them again. You can see from this, my hand just goes to the side. So I'm going to actively pull it to the center. And then I'm going to lift my elbows and feel that opening in my upper spine. And I'm going to lower them because that also feels good. And now let's let that go. And let's go ahead, place your left hand on the mat and take your right hand up and over for a side body stretch. Actively push your left hand in to push your body away, because that is kind of nice right now. And notice I'm not really trying to go as far as I can over there. I'm just trying to create an opening on my side body. So it's not about bending over as far as you can. Let that go. Let's switch sides. I like to also play with my neck in this one. You can, if that feels good. Just finding an area that's going to release the side body. That's the main point here. Okay, now let that go. Now let's take an easy twist. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Put your left hand by the base of your spine and look over your left shoulder. Slowly unwind and switch sides. Bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand to the base of your spine and look over your right shoulder. Make sure your sit bones are firmly on the ground. And unwind and come back to center. Now, placing your hands on your knees, you're gonna roll your shoulders up, back, and down, and start to pull your ribs in your chest through your arms, creating an arch in your back. You can add in your neck, but don't crunch your neck. Make sure you keep a little length in there. And now on your exhale, round your spine. Make a C out of your spine from your tailbone to the top of your head, making a letter C. Whoops, looks like I lost you guys there. It's a little bit windy out here today. The rest of my spine. And I'm going to start to drop my heels, but I'm also going to start to go a little pigeon-toed to rotate my inner thighs, rotate my hips inwards a little bit, pulling the insides of my thighs out, going towards the back of the mat. If it feels appropriate, go ahead, pedal your legs. I know words. And just find a little wiggle if that's good. I like stillness right now, so I'm just gonna hang out here. Okay, now let's go ahead and walk your feet up to your hands. Ooh, no, don't be blowing so much. The wind here is a little bit strong today, but that's okay. Okay, now I'm gonna inhale, come all the way up, and exhale, bring my hands to my heart. We're gonna do a couple rounds of Sun Salutation A as a warm-up. So if you're not familiar with that, just follow me. If you're, feel free to do as many or as little at your own pace with your own breath. Letting your breath be your guide, not your movement be your guide. Okay. So your breath, the depth of your breath dictates the depth of your movement, if that makes sense. Okay, so inhale your hands up and overhead, and exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift, either on your thighs, above your knees, or below your knees on your shins or your ankles. Whatever keeps a flat back. And exhale, plant your hands down, step or jump back into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Whew. Enjoy this. That is your sun salutation. Pretty easy. Okay, let's come to the balls of our feet and step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Ooh, I felt a little crack in my spine. It feels nice. Inhale, hands all the way up and overhead, and exhale, hands to heart. Now that's actually the full Sun Salutation A. Okay. Let's do like 2 more of those. Okay. So inhale, hands up and over. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now bend your knees, look between your hands in jumper. Step to the front of your mat. Exhale, hands up and over, and hands to heart. Really good. Just like that. Try to incorporate your inhales and exhales with your movement. Okay. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, halfway lift or flat back. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, inhale onto your tiptoes, look between your hands, bend your knees, and jump to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, hands up and over. And exhale, hands to your heart. Okay. Okay. Let's go into the sequences. Sometimes I'll do a Sun Salutation B, but today we won't. We're just going to go into the sequence. Okay. So inhale, bend your knees. Well, first off, let's bring our big toes to touch. And inhale, give a big bend in your knees. Sweep your hands up and over into a chair pose. Try to squeeze your legs together to make one big leg, and keep your hands up and over in front of you, trying not to arch your back, and try to play with the balance of sitting backwards and sitting down. If you watch my other videos, you may have noticed this is not my pose, but I need to practice it, so that's why I include it. Okay, and from here, we're gonna bring our hands down to the mat, step your right foot back, and spin it to the back to be parallel with the back edge of your mat. engage your core, sweep your right hand up and over, coming into a warrior two. Whew. Finding strength in this pose, you pulling up energy from the earth. You want to get your knee over your ankle. Now, wherever you're at, see if you could widen your stance a little bit and get a little bit deeper into the pose. You want to keep this hip down instead of, make sure it's not popping out. We want it down. We want our hips. You put your hands on your hips to see how neutral they are. And when I do that, I notice my knee goes over to the side. It starts to bend in that way. So I'm going to try to press it out that way while maintaining my hips forward. That was a big old crazy goose and dog chase going on over there, and some dude on a motorbike thing. Anyway, let's reverse that warrior. Whoops. Don't fall over if you can. That wind is strong. Okay, I'm trying to keep this back leg straight, trying to push through the back edge of my foot. And from here, we're going to come into an extended side angle. So I'm going to use my forearm and I'm going to sweep my hands over. Now, if you have blocks handy, what you can do is put the block on the inside of your foot and use that instead of your forearm. And you could also choose your height. So you could do it higher like this, or lower like this, or you could do no block. Ooh. Yeah. Or you could do your half bind if you're going there. I don't want to go there yet because I don't feel it makes sense for me. Okay, when you're ready, come back into your warrior two, reverse your warrior, and now we're going to use the momentum to reach so far forward. Have a block by you if that's in your practice. You can bring that, and you're going to lift your back leg and your back arm. Try not to rely on the block so heavily, and you want to try to rotate your chest, keeping your rotation of your chest forward, and your toes should be pointing forward. Now, if your balance is okay, you could remove the block and you could use your fingertips. And if you're really trying to work your core, you could engage your core and see if you could lift up. I lifted up and fell over. That happens. It's fine if that happens. Just regroup and come back. Okay, and from here we're gonna bend the top leg, come back into our warrior two, and reach your hands down. Whoa, it's like doggy time right now. There's so many dogs in the park. Okay, take a flow. Okay, after you're in your down dog, bring your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, hands up and over, and hands to heart. Now we're going to come into a chair pose. And from here, frame your top foot, step your left leg back. Now change your left foot so that it's parallel with the back edge of the mat. Windmill your hands up and over, and find your warrior two. Wow. Okay, now here we're going to extend our hands up and over into our reverse warrior. And now let's come into an extended side angle, either at your forearm or dropping your hand down. Find the place that makes sense for you and hang out here for a second. Then reverse your warrior one more time. And now we're going to go into a half moon. Try it in one swoop. If your balance is steady, try to look up at your hand. Woo, mine is not that steady. I fell over. So now I'm going to come back. Woo. Okay. And now bend that top leg, come back into your warrior two, reverse your warrior two, and windmill your hands down and take a vinyasa. Ooh. It's all flappy. Okay, so that's our standing flow that we just did. I did cheat in that up dog. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Now walk your hands up to your feet up to your hands. Find a flat back and exhale nose to knee. Inhale all the way on up and exhale your hands to your heart. Okay, now we're going to come into like a balancing series, balancing thing. Sorry, I got sniffles. I've been kind of sick still. Okay, we're gonna, okay, so we're gonna come in first to our eagle position. So go ahead, put your feet together, start to bend your knees. Well, hold on, let's do our arms first. Let's take our arms out to a T, bring your left hand across and your right hand under, and find that eagle arm situation with your right arm underneath. Now, go ahead and bend your knees. My balance is, I could already tell, pretty shaky today, but that's okay. I'm still gonna practice. Probably has to do with the wind and that I'm on a slight hill. Okay, and I'm gonna start to shift my weight onto my left foot. And I'm gonna pick up my right foot and I'm gonna wrap it around. If you're not able to, you could always use it as a kickstand, but otherwise, try to wrap it and then bring your hips back, your right hip back, your left hip forward. Ooh, and try to stay. Find a focal point. If you fall out, it's okay, you just found a new boundary. Suck your belly into your spine. See if you can lower your legs and lift up just a little bit. Okay, now let's let go of the arms. And now bring your foot up. Ooh, if you can, if you fall out, no worries. But if you can, bring your right foot into your left thigh, pressing your thigh into your foot and your foot into your thigh, opposing forces to squeeze in. And squeeze in so that you could drop your knee back and come into a tree pose. Hoo-wee. That burns that ankle, doesn't it? Okay, and from here we're gonna undo that. We're gonna bring our foot across our knee into a bit of a figure four. First, slow down your breath. If you're like me, you're all over the place. Slow your breath down. Slow your pace down. And maybe even come out of it a little bit. Okay, so you're gonna have your knee across your foot, your leg across your knee into a figure four, standing figure four. Okay, making sure you're planted firmly through your left foot. And I'm starting to push my knee away, like towards the earth, kind of. And then I'm gonna take my right arm and I'm gonna try to hook it into my right foot, which sounds a little crazy, but we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna try to press. Okay, so that's where we're going. Maybe you're already there. I'm so happy if you're already there. Otherwise, it should look like this. And if you can, start to open your chest towards the side. And that's a good hip opener and twist. And then let it all go, come back, shake it off. Your legs should be really burning. If it's not, then you're a freak of nature. And congratulations, you do have some wild muscles going on. Hopefully you've worked for them. Okay. Oh, sorry about my sniffles. Okay. Now let's switch sides. We're gonna bring our hands out to a T. This time we want the left hand underneath. So we're gonna bring our right arm forward and kind of across, swoop our left arm under, and start to walk your fingertips up so that you're in this eagle position. Move your weight into the right side, bend your knees, and wrap your foot around or kickstand, wherever you're at. Hold here. Find a focal point. And now that I don't have to explain so many things, let's unwind. Grab your left foot and put it into your right thigh. Find your tree pose. If you feel like you're gonna fall out, try to lift up through the top of your head or ground your tailbone. It's a windy, tree, breezy day. Okay, now we're only here for a short time, so let's bring that foot across our knee and start to bend into a figure four. And now bring your left elbow or arm into your left foot. Find a nice hip opener and twist. Whew. Okay. In balancing pose. I don't know if that one's gonna work for me today. Let's try it one more time. If you're dying, you could come out. I'm gonna regain control of my breath. Okay. And there we go. I hid it for a second. You saw it. Okay, let's move on. Okay. On to our next flow. That one was our balance flow. Now we're doing a nice hip flow. Okay. Woo, woo, woo. I'm not drunk, you're drunk. Okay. Now from there, we're gonna let all that go. Come into a forward fold. Step your legs back into a vinyasa push or a downward facing dog. Hoo-wee. This is a nice resting pose. Okay, and from here, I'm gonna move my right leg up and swing it between my hands. And now I'm gonna take my right hand and put it between or on the inside of my foot. Okay, it smells like barbecue. And I'm gonna come down into like a lunge. And let's drop our left knee to come into a lizard. Whew. If that feels good to you, you could stay here. Or you could come down to your forearms to enjoy this lizard pose. I like to rock my hips back and forth to really open up, just to open that up. It feels good. And now, depending on where you're at, maybe you could come back to your hands and you're gonna bend your back leg. Now, I'm gonna use my left hand as my kickstand and I'm gonna open up, reach my right hand up and reach back for my left foot. My right hand, my left foot. If this is good, stay here or start to push your hip forward. That feels really good. You get that hip flexor stretch. If you want to go a little deeper, drop your forearm down and try to open up. Ooh-wee. It's like I'm kicking my back foot into my hand. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, now let's let it go. Come on back. Okay, we're gonna walk the right foot over to the left corner of the mat, and I'm gonna drop my right knee down. Now I really dropped all the way down, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to scoop back so that I'm not pouring onto that. If that's happening for you and you can't really control it, put a block under you, and that's gonna help. Okay. Now today for this pigeon, let's keep it up. And also for this pigeon today, I wanted to use the strap. So I am gonna break form. I'm gonna put my foot through this little hole that I got in my strap. And I'm gonna pull it. And I'm gonna bring it with me so that when I come back into my pigeon shape, I can start to bend this and I can start to pull this. Now, what you can also do is try to find kind of like, instead of making it real long, you could kind of bring yourself back up so that you're kind of up on your hip, and you could stand a little bit more. And you could start to walk both hands back. Okay. Woo. Or you could do one hand. This is the king pigeon is what it is called. King pigeon. So I might just hold it like this for today because I'm a little bit tired from doing my last yoga video. Okay, let that go. And now let's come back into a downward facing dog. Roll forward to the top of the mat, like a wave, and come through a vinyasa. Ooh-wee. Okay. Now let's make this time easier. So when you swoop your left leg up, just bring it to the outside of your left hand. Yeah, into one motion. Let's not make it so complicated. Now drop your back leg and decide if you want your forearms up or down, and then don't forget to push your hips forward. Yeah, like that. Ooh-wee. And do a little rocking. When I rock back and forth, it does help to release some of the QL muscle that causes a lot of tension in the back and a lot of hip stuff. So I am enjoying that. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna come back up and place your right hand on the outside. Start to look over your left shoulder. What is this one? The right leg. Go ahead, bend your right leg and grab your right leg with your left arm. And then let's come on down. Oh, push your hip forward. Get that hip flexor stretch. And kick your back leg into your hand. Okay, now let's let that go. And now walk your left leg over across your mat and bring your left knee down to the mat into your pigeon pose, keeping an upright pigeon for this practice. Ooh. Okay. I should have thought ahead, but I did not. So I'm going to break my form. And I'm going to put my foot through here. Okay. Finding the depth that's appropriate for you. my quads are pretty tight, so this is definitely enough for me. Oh, but I should have my arm up over like this. So maybe I'll use that to kind of create leverage. Get creative with your practice. That's a real nice quad stretch, hip flexor stretch. Pretty intense. Okay, let that go. And come into a downward facing dog and go through a vinyasa. Okay. Now drop your knees down and come down to your belly. Sorry, my nose is out of control. Hoo-wee. I should have known it's springtime and it's kind of cool. Okay, and windy. Okay, Sphinx pose. So, I'm a big fan of Sphinx pose. A lot of people think it's a resting pose, but actually if you're doing it right, you work real hard. So come to your forearms, put your forearms under, and bring them as close to your belly as what feels comfortable. Push your tailbone down into the mat, push the tops of your feet down into the mat. And use the pushing down of your legs to lift up through your chest to find a rebound of energy. And look forward. And that feels pretty nice. Whoo-wee. Engage your core. Don't let it slump because you want to protect your low back. Okay, now go ahead and bring your head down to the mat. Relax all your muscles. Find your breath. And now once again lift up. But this time we're going to come into a full cobra. So put your hands straight in front of you. I guess you could do a Sphinx first and then push into a full cobra. If you want to intensify the stretch, bring your hands closer to your body and push up more. If you want to make it less intense, you can bring your hands away from your body, and that'll take some pressure off of your low back. So same kind of deal as Sphinx. You want to press through your lower body, engage, make sure your lower body's alive, and then go ahead and lower. Release all your muscles. I'm not going to put my head down because it affects the microphone, but do put your head down and release everything you can. Find your breath. And now we're going to come into a locust pose. But we're going to do one where you interlace your fingers behind your back. So interlace your fingers behind your back. And lift up, lift your legs up, lift your chest up as high as you can. And breathe, opening up through your chest, pressing down through your hips, pulling, using your hamstrings to pull up, and pointing your feet. I like to point my feet instead of flexing my feet. That'd be weird. And then let it all go. And now we're going to come into a half bow. So we'll do the right side first, since that's usually what you start with, and also it's facing the camera. So I'm going to put my hand kind of in a diagonal, my left hand in a diagonal across my body. I'm going to bend my right leg. I forgot the word for leg. I'm going to grab from the inside of my foot, and I'm going to kick. Kind of like a dancer pose, but on my belly. And I'm going to kick, 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 kick. And I'm going to also try to Make sure my knee doesn't splay out so much. Try to pull my knees together and kick. And I'm gonna let that go. Maybe that's not half bow, but I called it half bow just now. And now I'm gonna do that with the other side. So I'm gonna bring my right hand across my body, bend my left leg, grab it from the inside, and then kick. Kick so much that it's raising up my whole chest and pressing my hips into the mat. And I'm feeling that shoulder opening, that chest opening. And I can feel a whole lot of things burning. Now let that go and bring your head back down to the mat. And this time we're gonna do a full bow. So bring your hands on the insides of your feet. Ooh-wee. Okay. And kick up. Actually, I'm gonna bring them to the outsides of my feet because that feels just more appropriate. This gives me a lot of knee pain, so I'm gonna be gentle. That's why I usually do the half one. You could also grab onto your ankles instead of your feet. Lift up, up, up. Try to lift your legs up and let it go. Now, let's come into a child's pose. Ooh-wee. A whole lot of back bends. Don't stay here for too long though. Now slowly sit back up. We're not going to completely decompress the spine because we're not done with our back bends. Come back to the center of your mat. Oh man. Okay. And now we're going to put blocks on either side of us, or you could just do it without blocks. We're gonna do a flowing half camel. So we're gonna cup our feet with our hands, and then I'm gonna bring my left arm up and over across my body to about here, and then I'm gonna undo it. Come back the way I came in, and then I'm gonna cup my left heel with my left hand, and I'm gonna do the opposite. Bring the right hand up and over across my body, and then back down. Okay, so the movement's gonna look like this, back and forth, and this is gonna be our flowing camel. And now once you have that motion down, we're just gonna lift our hips up and down. Okay, so I'm gonna cup my foot, I'm gonna lift my hips up, push forward, and come back down. And each time, I'm gonna try to come a little bit deeper into the pose. Should feel pretty nice, pretty gentle, only go as far as you need. And so if you're not able to hold on to your heels like this, you could use blocks. And you could use the blocks that are appropriate for your level. So maybe your blocks are high, like so. So you're gonna come on up and down. This one fell over, that's okay. Up and down. Or if you need them like here, up and down, up and down. But if you could do it from here, you could probably just tuck your toes under to give yourself a little height. And you could do the same thing, up and down, up and down. Okay. Okay, and once you're done with that, let's let it go. Sit on your heels for a second, find your breath, find length through your spine. And now let's come on to our heels, putting our hips directly over our knees. And I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to put them on my low back, and I'm just going to push forward. So I'm trying to tuck my tailbone down, and I'm lifting up through my hip bones, up, up, up. And my heart is also going to lift up like it wants to touch the sky. And this is just, that's kind of the direction you're thinking. Okay, so hold that for about 3 breaths. Okay, and then come on down to your heels once again. Sit down, let your spine relax, but not too much. Okay, and now we're gonna come into our full camel. So, let's start again with our hands on our back. Push forward, pick up right where you left off, and now take your right hand, grab your right ankle, push your hips forward as much as your body wants to go back. It's like a tug of war. And do the same thing with your left hand. Get both hands onto your heels. And think about lifting up through your hips, pushing down through your tailbone to create space in your back, and up through your chest. Okay, and when you've had enough of that, bring your hands back to your low back, and then sit down on your heels. We're at the final bit of our class. I just noticed I did the wrong class. Oops. This is our class to camel. My bad. I told you it was our class to compass. That'll be for the next video, the next Vinyasa video. Okay, so now that we're sitting on our heels, we're gonna bring our forehead down to the mat, and we're gonna cup our heels with our hands. And then from there, we're gonna lift up on our hips. It's a really good counter pose. So it might look something like that. And from here, you can try to walk your knees to your forehead. Don't forget to breathe. Okay. Come back down. Okay. Now, bring your big toes to touch. Open your knees. And come into a wide-legged child's pose. Really creating space through your spine because we just did some back bends. So it should feel pretty good. Okay, now slowly come on back up. Cross your legs under you, put your feet out in front of you, and find a forward fold. You could use a block as a resting point. This is more of a relaxing forward fold than it is a intense forward fold. I feel the shadow is eating me. I tried to start this class away from the shadows as much as I could, but here I am, still in the shadow. Okay. Paschimottanasana. Ooh, enjoy the feeling of the opening in your back. Okay, now let's throw that block aside and let's lay onto the mat. Bringing our knees to our chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. And then grab your right foot with your right hand and your left foot with your left hand while keeping your knees bent, coming into Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Now I like to try to keep my whole spine on the mat. In rock side to side, because that feels actually super nice. Okay, now straighten one leg at a time. One leg. Ooh. And then the other. And then maybe both. Woohoo. And come back into happy baby. bring your knees once again back to your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. And now we're gonna come into a supine twist. So let's hold on to our right leg, let the left leg fall away. Now let's bring the right leg over across our body and look over your right arm in this nice supine twist. I hope I'm not flashing you. I'm so sorry if I am. And just relax here. Don't put any effort into this any more than you have to. Okay. Now let's bring your legs back into your chest. Now this time grab your left leg and let your right one fall away. And bring your left leg across your body, keeping your left shoulder on the mat and finding a nice supine twist. Nice, relaxing, effortless, aiding in digesting, enjoying life. Okay, now come back in for one last time. Bring your knees to your chest. Give yourself a hug, and now come into your final resting pose, Shavasana. slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing your life, bring a little movement into your body, dropping back into real life is what I wanted to say. Make your way into Sukhasana, easy pose. I'll let you decide how you get there. Thank you for joining my practice today. I appreciate you joining in. I hope that you will join again and interact. So you can follow me on Instagram to join my asana challenge. This month we're working on handstands. It's never too late to join, so don't worry if it's a few days into April. There's no reason not to join. And I would love to see any kind of feedback or any kind of progress that you're making in your journey. So feel free to share, reach out there to me. And yeah, if you like this, please like, support, comment, and share it with anybody who you might think is interested. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.